We all have to eat. You might as well find out where the best food is. From restaurant reviews to the fun of food from around the region to around the world. This is The Food Show with Andrew Coppolimo on 570 News.
And welcome to The Food Show. I am Andrew Coppolino. It's great to have you alongside. And, well, the first thing we have to say, the first order of business is Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there who is a mother. We want to welcome all the mothers who are listening and give them the big old thumbs up. Because we love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom. I love you too, Mom.
We have a couple of guests, too, who are going to be sending out their mom wishes, and I'll introduce them right away. The first is Emily Schleeper. She's a cook at Nick and Nat's Uptown 21, Garde Manger to be specific. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Welcome to the show. Glad you could come in.
Glad I could be in. And happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Yeah,
I love you.
You better get that in.
I know.
We also have Priyanka Patel. She is from Food Revolution Day KW. It happens May 19th. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's better say Mother's. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you.
You haven't done anything yet, either of you, for Mom? You haven't visited yet?
Mine's still a surprise, so I'm not going to say.
Better not say what it is.
I texted her, and
you texted her.
I texted her, okay. And hopefully I'll see her today.
Is this the new way of communication with Mom now? The text message?
Yeah, we're both busy. We can throw each other.
But you're a bit irked because she didn't get back to you.
She
Emily
didn't text me back, and we have new phones now, so I can see that message was delivered.
Okay.
No excuses.
No excuses.
Well, we all got up very early, and we took Mom out for a breakfast this morning, quick bacon and eggs breakfast at a local restaurant before I headed back in here to the studio. So I got that. I won't say obligation, but I got that little pleasure out of the way.
Good for you.
Well, make sure everybody wishes their mom a happy, and cook something for your mom on Mother's Day, and I'm sure that's. You're always cooking something, aren't you, Emily? Huh? Sure.
Have to.
Good, absolutely. We want to introduce two other guests that we'll have via telephone, and one is Brian Patton. He's written a book called The Sexy Vegan, and I thought The Sexy Vegan was a kind of a neat book to give away on Mother's Day, and that's why I scheduled him to join us on telephone. I mean,
why not give him a little something sexy?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so he calls his book The Sexy Vegan Cookbook, and he's one of these guys that sort of, went through most of his life as a carnivore, and then there was some moment when he decided he didn't want to be a carnivore anymore, and he launched into trying to find good food to eat as a vegan. And when that became difficult, he set out on a little journey to actually make the food, and so he put it together in a cookbook, and he's got lots of YouTube videos and stuff like that. So we'll be speaking to Brian Patton later in the hour, The Sexy Vegan Cookbook. And I should tell you that if you write this number down, 519-570-2545. That's 570-2545 or star 570 on your cell, because you could win this book. I'll ask you to call in, and if you're the right numbered caller, then you could win the book. We also will be speaking with a lady that we've had on the show before, Annabelle Waugh. She's the food director with Canadian Living Publications. Everybody knows about Canadian Living magazine and the Canadian Living test kitchens. They're a major food source, I guess, virtually and through their publications in Canada. And Annette will be on to tell us, Annabelle will be on to tell us a little bit about their new complete preserving cookbook. Preserves are kind of hot, I guess. Would you say, Emily? I mean, you're in the business a little bit deeper than, but you guys do a lot,
at the restaurant and stuff like that. And
yeah.
If you come into the restaurant, you can see mason jars full of our house-made preserves on the walls.
Well, this is the thing now, isn't it? I mean, people are doing this more and more, not just professionally, but in their homes as well.
Oh, it's awesome. Just being able to find something that's in season and how great it tastes when it's fresh, and being able to preserve that so that you can have it any time of the year. Yeah.
So are you responsible for some of the preserving at the restaurant?
I help out. I mostly help clean the product and get it ready for the jarring and stuff like that. But Nick's kind of the guy who does that.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess this season you're looking at doing some ramps.
We've got
doing some
ramps,
asparagus.
Yeah. We did fiddleheads last year, which turned out really nice.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's what this book is designed to show you, how to do all kinds of preserves. So it's more than just jam, isn't it? I mean, preserving, you can do all kinds of pickles and chutneys and relishes and things.
Everything.
Yeah. And it's a great way of preserving the season, and I think that's what Annabelle will be telling us. That's Canadian Living's The Complete Preserving Book from the Canadian Living Test Kitchens. I had a great meal yesterday, last night in Stratford at the Mercer Hall restaurant, or Restaurant Mercer Hall. I'm not sure which order they like it in, but this is a new restaurant that's been, I guess it's an old restaurant that's been refurbished, and there were some really great dishes we had there. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit later, but They had a nice preserved dish with the charcuterie board, which is a classic pairing, isn't it? Right?
Yeah,
A little bit of
for
mustards,
sure.
and they had some ramps. And now the one that I really, really liked was fingerling potatoes that had been preserved. And so they had kind of like, it tasted almost like a German potato salad, not with the mayonnaise, but with more of the vinegar.
oil and vinegar
Yeah,
type
it was really, really good. I've never had a potato served like that. I mean, obviously, I've had potatoes like that with those kinds of flavorings, but as part of another little tray of preserves.
That's really
it was
neat
good.
to go with it. Like,
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about Mercer Hall a little bit later. It's a great addition to the dining scene in Stratford, and I always think of Stratford as sort of in our backyard, pretty easy to travel to. But let's move ahead now to something that you're heavily involved with at Uptown 21. That is, of course, the Iron Chef competition, which is a great, great fundraising event for the Food Bank of Waterloo Region.
Yep.
And what we want to try to do here is get people sort of excited about this, get people introduced to it who don't know about it, and also then sort of sum up and sort of preview the event as it supports the food bank. So what happened last week, Emily? You're our Iron Chef correspondent.
I'm in there.
And you're right behind you're sort of starting and then you step aside and watch the activity.
We step
from outside.
aside, and then we just come to help show where things are. But last week we had Envers and 41 Gastropub come in, and our secret farmer was Ryan Horn, and he brought in a bunch of foraged goods that he found. So we had ramps, wild mustard greens, some elderflowers, wild violets.
There was some funky stuff. It was really cool to see
ginger.
that mushroom, the big hawk's wing.
Those were,
what are they called?
yeah,
Fungus or hawk's wing mushroom? I don't know. They were like these big dish sauces.
Yeah, and they almost tasted like, when you smell them raw, they smell like watermelon rinds, which is
really?
insane. Yeah, they're really cool.
And so they have to break all this stuff down and turn it into a fabulous meal.
Yeah, and they did a great job. It was crazy. For that hour, it gets crazy.
It does. It's pretty frenetic. The activity level is just so high, and it's just everyone's just moving so quick.
Oh, it's awesome. Like, the whole atmosphere of the restaurant changes from regular service to almost like a crazy bar with like.
And it was close. Who won?
Who won? And Envers won. Sorry.
Envers is of Morriston, which is just south of the 401, I guess, on number 6, sort of outside of Guelph and Aberfoyle.
Yeah, they did awesome. I think their dessert is what.
Yeah, that was a clincher for me. Yeah, they did a really good job. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Everyone did a good dish. Like all the dishes were quite good, and it's really. Well, tell us a little bit when you sit and watch in someone in your kitchen preparing this stuff, and they don't really know what the ingredients are going to be until moments before they start. They get 15 minutes to plan it, and then they have to pull it all together.
Minutes.
What are your impressions as a cook, someone who does this professionally?
For me, that's what I want to be able to do.
Yeah.
Like, just seeing them, like, that ice cream that they made was insane, and I would have never thought to put like wild ginger and spruce tips into an ice cream. And when I tasted it, I was like, this tastes like something that had way more time to be thought about and planning.
Yeah. I guess that's the mark then of someone who has a lot of experience. We should point out that you're a couple years in the business. You graduated from Conestoga College, and you've been with Nick and Nats now a few years, not a long time.
I've been there for about 1 year.
About 1 year,
now,
okay.
Uptown, but I worked in the restaurants before I came to college and stuff like that. But
still pretty amazing to watch them pull all that together.
Oh, it's insane. It's like you're like watching the TV show, and it's just, it's fun. It's really fun.
It is, isn't it? I mean, and they got the Eastwood Collegiate crew there videotaping or taping it in, a streamed live to Ustream, and you can watch the whole thing unfold. It's a great opportunity for the restaurant industry, people in behind the scenes to sort of get together. Other cooks come and visit and cheer on their favorite team.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah. Just being able to like see the farmers and everything come in, and I don't even know how to explain it. It's just so much fun to watch,
and tastes good too.
Oh, being able to go back and taste all of these like awesome chefs' dishes that they just get to make up. And the first week there was a pork carpaccio that was made, and I had never heard of that before. And when I tasted it, still tasted great.
Yeah, it's nice. I think it's probably good for cooks and as well as audience members, because you get to see new ideas and different things you can do with food that you can then try out for your dishes or whatever you're doing. So this all raises money, and I think in the first week we raised hundreds of dollars for the food bank. What were the numbers like for this week? We just sort of want to update people on this.
This week we had about $400. The first week we had about $500.
That's pretty good.
Around. Yeah, so we're like.
You're ahead of schedule from,
ahead
I guess.
Of schedule. Yeah. Last year we raised $3,400
for the food bank.
And this year our goal is $4,000. So
Well, you're on your road right
we're
now.
rolling.
We want to preview then what's coming up next week. So these things happen Wednesday at 9:30ish, sort of at the restaurant after sort of regular hours are over, basically.
Yeah.
Who's coming up? Who's visiting next week?
So next week we have a student from Conestoga College, accompanied by one of the teachers that used to work there, one of the chefs. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And they're versus a student representing the Stratford Chef School. So that should be pretty.
It's going to be a battle of the chef schools, is it?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. I'm rooting for Conestoga.
Oh, I bet.
That's where I'm from.
Do you know Wallace?
Yep, I know Wallace. He was graduating when I started school. So
he's got huge experience with some of the best restaurants in the world. He does stages at Noma, Alenia, and some really great restaurants.
He just got hired on at Mamafuko.
He did.
So that's pretty awesome for him.
That is. You mean in New York? Or is there the one in Toronto?
Toronto.
Yeah, the one in Toronto. Yeah, good for him, eh?
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome.
He's really into that kind of gastro kind of stuff too, isn't he?
Yeah,
Kind of molecular gastronomy.
Yeah, he's going to be bringing that.
I'm interested in seeing what he can do with that. And actually, I was at a dinner at Bloom, which you know from Conestoga, right? And Wallace cooked one of the meals, and that was the first time I've ever had that experience with dry ice.
The dry ice mousse. I actually helped him.
Oh, were you in the kitchen there?
Yeah, I was in the kitchen that night helping him out.
Yeah, that was I think the first time I've had that in this region. That was sort of the introduction to it, and it's all Wallace, isn't it? Because he just loves bringing that stuff.
He loves it, and he does a great job.
Okay, well, tell us what some of the other details are for how do people get involved if they want to be a spectator at Nick and Nat's
If you
Uptown
want to be a
21 Iron
spectator,
Chef,
you can call in and reserve a ticket for the Iron Chef, or you can come in. We still have some tickets at the door.
They go very fast, don't they?
They go really fast. We have a very small capacity, so we get full pretty fast. But we also do a raffle, and we raffle off one of the judges' seats to raise some extra money. And
the ticket price is?
Ticket price is $5.
And they can go to uptown21.ca if they want to get more information, if they don't know about it. And, of course, you'll be there.
I will be there.
And all of your cohorts, yeah. I think the neat thing is if you have dinner there, and then have your ticket and hang around after dinner.
Oh, that's
awesome.
And
then it gets pretty crowded, too. And then they have television monitors set up in a couple places in the restaurant, so you can't always see what's happening right in the kitchen. But if you're in the back end of the restaurant, I guess the front section of the restaurant away from the kitchen, there's good vision from the television, too. So it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's lots of fun.
What do you like most about it? What's the favorite thing for you?
I like just getting to get out of the more for me, it's not a stressed out environment as much. So instead of being in service when you're really
don't you feel the stress for them though?
I feel the stress for them, but it's an exciting stress. I'm watching and what are they gonna do next?
Have you noticed too, Ken from Enver's, he's been there a couple of times. He's done it a couple of times, so he was very comfortable. But I remember when he did it the first time, he was kind of nervous. And Daryl from 41, he was a little bit nervous too. And then they sort of get into it, don't they? And they get a rhythm going, and they sort of get an understanding of where everything is in the kitchen, and it starts to come together. Yeah, so it is a lot of fun.
It's awesome. It's crazy seeing them being where I'm mixing bowls, where's this, where's that, and you get to kind of help them and be below the plates, right over there. I can get you a lemon.
So we'll sum it up and we'll say that next Wednesday, it's the Conestoga College versus Culinary and Hospitality School versus the Stratford Chef School folks. And we don't know who the battle is going to be, what ingredient's going to be there.
No, that's a secret.
We have no idea. It's a secret. It's not revealed yet. So I'm speaking with Emily Schleiper. She's a cook and garde manger, Nick and Nat's Uptown 21, and Priyanka Patel. She's with Food Revolution Day KW starting on May 19th. That's a big event that's coming up. Now, we have to take a quick break. When we come back, though, we're going to be trying to get in touch with a guy called Brian Patton. He's written a book called The Sexy Vegan, and I want to give that book away. 519-570-2545 or star 570 on your cell. That's 570-2545, star 570 on your cell. We'll be right back with The Sexy Vegan. This is Andrew Coppolimo. You're listening to 570 News.
This is The Food Show with Andrew Coppolimo. To call Andrew, 519-570-2545. By cell, star 570. Or toll free, 1-800-570-5715. The Food Show with Andrew Coppolimo on 570 News.
And welcome back. Emily Schleifer here in the studio. She's doing the frug or something. What is one of those old kind of dances? The frug?
When you dance to the B-52s, you have to rock out.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
I can't help myself.
Well, welcome back to the Food Show. Andrew Coppolimo here, and obviously Emily Schleifer doing the frug here on the on the radio.
Yep.
To the B-52s as well as Priyanka Patel. Food Revolution Day, KW, is coming up May 19th. But we're trying to get a hold of the sexy vegan, and maybe he's busy at Mother's Day. I'm not sure. We're having a little trouble getting a hold of him. But I still want to give away this book because that's just the kind of way we roll here at the Food Show. We like to make sure people get this
Give away
stuff.
free stuff.
Absolutely. So we've got some stuff to give away. Let's take the third caller to get the Sexy Vegan Cookbook. And the number again is 519-570-2545, star 570 on your cell, 570-2545, star 570 on your cell. And there's no skill testing question or anything. We're just going to, maybe Mom wants a last-minute Sexy Vegan Cookbook. Emily, actually, could you just pass me that book for a minute? I'm just going to do a little, what do you know about vegan cooking? I mean, you're not a vegan, I know, but is it something that you have had to learn a little bit more about?
Yeah, but it's definitely becoming more dominant, and people are becoming more aware of like their eating habits and everything like that. So working in the restaurant, you have to be able to make kind of adjustments. So instead of using like butter and oil to start off a risotto, you use oil for the base, and that way you can change it up and make things.
He's got some interesting recipes in here. One is the lasagna faux, like as in fake.
Faux.
Yeah, faux lanaise.
I like it.
So that's kind of interesting. I'm certainly not a vegan or even a vegetarian. I eat a lot of meat. I love meat. But every once in a while I do delve into this kind of cooking, just because one of the most fantastic meals I ever had was a vegetarian tasting, and it was just excellent. And, if you have really good produce and it's prepared properly with nice little sauces and whatever mustard or whatever you want, it can really have some amazing flavors and textures that that you sort of overlook. You always think of the vegetables as this sort of the accompaniment to the protein or whatever. So, foregrounded, they can be very, very nice. And that's what the Sexy Vegan is banking on. So we have a caller? No? Well, we're trying to get a caller because I think we've got someone on the line that may be lined up to win this book. And, we'll see. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So let's put her on the line. Can we? Okay. Hi, are you there? Who is this? We're still working on this. So with the Sexy Vegan Cookbook, extraordinary food from an ordinary dude. I think he's just a regular kind of guy who decided he was going to go vegan, and we've got her on the line now. Hi, are you there? Who is this? Hello, are you there?
I am.
And you're the winner of the Vegan Cookbook. What's your name?
Kathy.
And where are you from, Kathy?
Cambridge.
Cambridge. Are you a vegan?
My daughter-in-law is a vegan, so I'm calling for my son, because he has to do most of the cooking.
Oh, okay. I see. Now, is this something that you're interested in yourself as well?
Very much.
Yeah. Why do you think?
Charlotte has. We've been cooking for her for a couple of years, so we're very interested in going with her wishes. And they're coming for Mother's Day supper, and I'm doing vegan right now.
Oh, perfect. What are you cooking?
It's the beef. Well, we're doing shish kebabs for her.
Oh, okay. All right.
And we're having steak, but everything else is vegan.
Okay.
Broccoli salad, her birthday cake, we're combining it. She is, it's vegan. So we've really changed our habits since they've been going together.
Well, that's great. I mean, there's a lot of good things I think you'll find interesting in here. Grilled fish tacos, well, fish in quotation marks, with corn and jicama salad.
Awesome.
That sounds very interesting. And there's a lot of kind of some interesting, like the beet down. It's called beet as in the root vegetable beet. Avocado toasts, morning benediction, pretend Italian sausages. So I think you'll find a lot of interesting things in here. And it's written in a very light, sort of lighthearted, carefree way as well. So it's not too heavy and serious. I think he's having a lot of fun with it, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you make sure that you stick on the line so our operator can get all your contact information so the book can be here waiting for you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kathy. Thanks for calling.
Okay.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's turn our attention now to I guess we could say that vegan cooking and vegetarian cooking isn't exactly a revolution, but it's certainly been an evolution in the way people have been thinking about food. But Priyanka, you're here with a very determined revolution that's called Food Revolution Day for KW. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what this event is. It takes place at the Kitchener Market on May 19th.
Right. So it's actually an initiative by Jamie Oliver, who is a chef based out of the UK, and it's going to be a worldwide event. Hundreds and hundreds of cities all over the world are going to be participating, and it's all about educating people about food and getting people excited to get into their kitchens and to get experimental and to learn more about what goes into their food and, you know, what they can do with just something as simple as a chili pepper or something.
Mm-hmm. And how did you get involved?
I wanted to participate in something, so I looked it up online and I saw that there was nothing going on for Kitchener-Waterloo, so I thought, okay, well, why not just do it myself? So I contacted the Kitchener Market, and I'm collaborating with them as well as the Canadian Organic Growers, and we're going to be having a bunch of events going on at the Kitchener Market on May 19th. It's going to be from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. roughly, and there's going to be tons and tons of awesome events for everyone. You know, you can bring your kids, you can bring your family, your friends. It's an event for everyone, really.
Free?
Yes, it's all free. And yeah, just come out and do your local shopping, your grocery shopping, and then, you know, there's lots of events. There's going to be a barbecue. The Canadian Organic Growers, they're going to be doing a storytelling of the organic stone soup. We're going to have plants for kids to take home and, you know, hopefully start their own garden and, you know, learn where their food comes from. There's going to be a naturopath coming to speak on how to live like a healthy lifestyle and, you know, how to incorporate all those good foods and, you know, live a wholesome life. There's going to be some awesome live cooking demonstrations. I guess it's kind of similar to the Iron Chef, where it's not really like a secret ingredient or anything, but it'll be really live and people can get excited and, you know, like see what it's like to cook something really simple with really good local food and make an awesome meal.
We don't know who the chef is yet, but it'll be a local cook that'll be coming.
Yes, it'll all be local. Everything will be local, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
And this is the first time for
this is the first event ever. Yeah, it's actually the first worldwide event ever. So it's actually spearheaded by a woman based out of Kitchener. She grew up here. She went to Grand River, and she's spearheading this whole entire worldwide event. So
wow.
It's really awesome. You know, it's just great to see someone from Kitchener just doing something as great as this and worldwide.
These events are all happening on May 19th, I guess,
yes.
across the globe, and where Jamie is going to be involved in some capacity in some place. Do you know, or is he just sort of or if he just lent his name to it?
No, he's going to be involved definitely. He's been tweeting about it. You know, he's made videos about it. You know, he's really excited for this. You know, it's the food revolution, and he really lives that. You know, it's just that whole movement of, you know, being healthy and being excited about food.
What are your impressions of why this revolution is necessary? When you look around, you obviously you're sort of you're a student of this particular kind of eating.
Yeah.
Why do you think we need this revolution? What are the problems that you see?
I think it's just lots of people don't know even like the basics, you know. I think it's in the world that we live in today, it's so easy to go to like a fast food restaurant and just order something off the menu or whatever, and you know, and just you don't even bother trying to figure out where your food comes from and who's cooking it. So I think we just need to get back into that mindset of like, you know, there's actually a lot of work that goes into the food that we eat, and so, you know, we need to start doing that and start putting in that work and getting excited about food. You know, like people really enjoy eating food, but why not try enjoy cooking it, you know?
So it's getting excited about the right kind of food too, because lots of people are
yeah.
excited about food they shouldn't eat,
right.
And we're trying to sort of set them on a more responsible, I guess, educated path.
Yeah, so I mean, Kitchener-Waterloo is great for that. I mean, we have so many great local chefs and local farmers that, you know, are just available to you to, you know, like there's always cooking classes going on. You know, we have our markets, and you know, it's so easy to start living a better life with food, you know, and to get cooking and to get into the kitchen and eat local food, eat better wholesome food, you know. It's just so easy. It's just you have to go out there and put yourself in there, I guess.
Do you cook?
I do.
Cook for yourself?
I do sometimes, because I live with my parents, so my mom cooks a lot, but I help her in the kitchen a lot.
Okay.
And
do you have to ever correct her, or is she pretty good?
No, my mom's always the right one. I think everyone always thinks that their mom's the best cook, so, you know. She makes the best food.
What kind of food does she cook?
Well, we're Indian, so she cooks a
that's
lot
why I'm interested in knowing.
She makes good biryanis and good like goat meat. Goat meat is so good. I love goat meat. It's just all. She makes really good samosas. Her samosas, I've never tasted anything better.
What do you think of when you look around you with your cultural background? What do you think about this region as a place to get different kinds of food from different parts of the world?
I think it's getting a lot better. I think like even going to the market, I'll see something like okra, and before you would never see that. But now like farmers are getting into knowing who they're selling to, I guess their customers, and they're just growing more food, and it's great because it's local. You don't have to go to some like ethnic store where you just go to straight to your farmer and they'll have it for you. Yeah,
I think okra's interesting. There's okra. I know a farmer that grows okra right in Breslau area, and I also know near St. Agatha there's a guy that's growing edamame as well. So there's these different kinds of vegetables and stuff that we wouldn't have known maybe 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. Suddenly it's showing up. Emily, what do you think of the food scene when it comes to eating? Can you find a really wide variety of stuff that you're interested in?
I think that there's a lot of stuff to be found right now, like everything. Like I was at I think it was like Central, and they had fiddleheads, and you don't see fiddleheads very much in a grocery store, and so that's getting kind of a lot better. It was neat, neat things that you could find.
I found once tamarind, not in a paste form, but the actual pods, and in a little box.
Those are
I
good.
thought, wow, I wouldn't know what to do with them because I've made pad thai before, and I've used the paste that comes sort of pre-done.
Right.
But now to see the actual plant there, really interesting stuff. I mean, it sort of goes against, I guess, the carbon footprint traveling kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're always wanting to concentrate on what is the actual food and not a processed product.
Right, yeah.
So Priyanka, give us a little bit of a summary again. Where the event is going to be held, what time, do people need to sign up, or do they just show up?
So it's going to be held at the Kitchener Market, which is in downtown Kitchener. The timing is around 10 to 2. It's going to be outside up on the piazza, and also inside at the marketplace where the kitchen is. What was the other question? Sorry, I forget.
Is it free? How do people?
People just show up. Like just come out and have a good time, and just come up with a great attitude and just come ready to learn awesome things.
So that's going to be a good educational element and also some stuff to eat, I would think, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Starting at 10 a.m.
Starting at 10:30, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining me. I appreciate coming into the
studio. Thank you for having me.
And please stick around because we'll have some more stuff about real food coming up. That's Priyanka Patel. She's with Food Revolution Day in KW at the Kitchener Market. That's kitchenermarket.ca. You can get more information. We do have to take a short break, but Emily, Priyanka, and I will be back here on The Food Show just after these commercials. This is 570 News.
You all have to eat. You might as well find out where the best food is. From restaurant reviews to the fun of food from around the region to around the world. This is The Food Show with Andrew Coppolimo on 570 News.
Welcome back to The Food Show. Glad to have you alongside. Time flies when you're having fun and talking about food, as we found here. Emily Schleiper from Uptown 21, Dick and That's. She's a cook there, as well as Priyanka Patel. She is with Food Revolution Day in KW, and glad to have you along. And thank you for sticking around.
Thank you.
We have a few more bits of food goodies to get through. Just want to give you a heads up. Future guests on the Food Show will include the folks from the New Dundee Emporium. They'll give us a little bit of insight into that. It's a very old building. It's been around for a long, long time, and it's been a restaurant for many of those years, and it's a kind of a unique restaurant sort of in the hinterlands townships in and around Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge. And it's quite popular for afternoon tea, that sort of famous British tradition, as well as they got a great chef there, and they just do a really neat little job of cooking and preparing food just sort of outside the major parts of our city. So we'll be talking to some of the guys there. Do you know it, Emily?
I don't know it, but I'm definitely interested.
In New Dundee, it's a fun little place. Afternoon high tea, they have little crumpets and little cucumber sandwiches with the crusts
Sounds
cut
fancy.
off. It's very fancy. Yes.
Sounds like a nice
It's a
place
good
for
place
Mother's
to,
Day.
Yes, exactly. You read my mind. Well, now preserving is more than just making jam. It's a technique that just about everybody knows, possibly from their grandmothers, but it's getting more and more popular as home cooks try to capture a season's freshness and taste. To tell us a bit more, Annabelle Waugh is on the line. Annabelle is the food director for Canadian Living, and they're the people behind this great new book, The Complete Preserving Book. Welcome, Annabelle. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, it's a lot of fun to have you here. We've got a cook in-house, and we've got another guest who's very interested in food, so we're all sort of chomping at the bit to learn a little bit more about preserving and conserving, I guess. Tell us a little. Tell us a little bit about this book, what it's designed to do, and for whom.
Well, I mean, really for anyone. I think there's people in this world. There's the people who preserve, and there's people who've never done it before. And I think that, for Canadian Living has been there for years just to show people, to empower them, to get them feeling comfortable in the kitchen, to try something they've maybe never done before. And I don't want people to think that just because they didn't necessarily learn how to make jam from their grandmother that they aren't going to be able to do it. And
exactly.
It's the kind of thing that, we have great how-to photos and really clear instructions. So even if you've never made a preserve in your life, you should be able to go get this book and be able to, have everything you need, basically.
Why don't we start with the more serious stuff first, and that is obviously preserving requires some safety and sort of cautious techniques. Maybe you could just give us a little bit of background on that and what that entails and how this book is designed to help people get to that point before we move into some of the delicious recipes that are in here.
Sure. Well, preserving, I don't want to make it sound scary. The main reason why you have to be careful about it is that preserves are there was a time when you would make a preserve and then seal it with a paraffin wax top, and that was fine, and you just, do the sniff test or whatever, and then hopefully, cross your fingers and hope that you weren't going to kill anyone. And nowadays, the rules have really changed. So there's a lot of strict rules in terms of how you can preserve something. And what that means is, in most recipes, you can kind of play around with it. You can customize it to make your own.
Right.
These recipes are very carefully thought out so that they have the right acid and sugar balance so that they're shelf stable. And then we sent them all to a lab to be tested for shelf stability and make sure that they were all food safe. So this is one of those things that you have to make sure that you follow the directions and not, if you don't like sugar, you can't just cut down the sugar and expect it to work the same way. You have to, actually find a light version of what you want. And we do have some light strawberry jam or light blueberry jam. So it's not like you are stuck with the super sugary stuff if you don't want it.
That's probably leads us into our next question, and that is just the range of recipes that are in this book is really quite amazing. So things that I would never think of as preserves or conserves, such as a pesto, for instance. There's a recipe for it in here. So I guess just give us an idea of what the book covers and what sort of constitutes then what a conserve or a preserve is.
Well, yeah. Well, there are 252 recipes in this book, and they're definitely not all jams. We have everything from jams, marmalades, jellies, pickles and relishes, chutneys, salsas, conserves, and then there are the things that are not necessarily canned in a proper, using a hot water canner. A lot of people don't think about it this way, but a freezer is a way of preserving food. So we have some sauces that you can put in the freezer. Pesto is one of those perfect sauces that you can, basil and all your other fresh herbs are in season for a short period of time, and you want to make the most of it. So you take it, you make a bunch of sauce, and then you put it in your freezer, and you have it for, months to come, which I think is a really great way of looking at it and a great way to hang on to our very short growing season that we have here in Canada.
I think that's a good point. I mean, the whole idea of local ingredients really only works within a season. But if you can capture the sunshine, if you can capture the flavors of a particular season, whether that's a root vegetable or whether that's the first early spring ramps, wild leeks, this is really the essence of what this book is focused on.
Well, exactly, and we did want to take you through the season, so we have, everything from the spring and early summer, rhubarb and strawberries and asparagus. We have fiddlehead pickles, which are delicious. We have the midsummer fruit, so the raspberries, the tart and sweet cherries, the currants, and then the late summer stuff like the grapes and blueberries and peaches and all that stuff. And we also have vegetables like corn and tomatoes. All those relishes and chutneys are really packed with all sorts of produce. And then the great thing about these is that even though you make them all in the summer, you can actually save them and give them as great gifts for Christmas or whatever during the holidays. And you can, give people that little taste of summer that they maybe miss.
Everybody's licking their lips here in this. Talking about these. One of the things too I've noticed, not only we were just talking about this during our last segment. We're talking about the wealth of ethnic kinds of restaurants that are available in Waterloo region. We're a fairly large region of 500, 600,000 people, and certainly in the major cultural centers like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, you're going to have even broader cross section. But ethnic restaurants and ethnic flavors and international cuisine is more and more part of our dining scene, and that's reflected too in this book. Would you say?
Oh, absolutely. So we have everything from the kind of classic, Anglo type recipes.
Right.
So, your classic strawberry jams, but we also have
relishes
things like hot pickled okra or pickled sugar pears or Korean kimchi, and we have, the best mango chutney ever. It's so much better than anything you could ever get in a store. And to me, that's the kind of stuff that people are familiar with these flavors, but they might not have the guts to try to make something like this at home, and it's really quite simple. So you might as well just try it, and what's the worst that can happen? If it's the kind of thing that you think, oh, well, there's something about preserving to me that is more about just the enjoyment of eating it, but there's also a real pride that you have in the food because it's a pride in our own ingredients, whether you grow it in your backyard or if you're going to the farmer's market and picking it up, and there's such a feeling of satisfaction to making it yourself.
Emily, our chef here in house, she was smiling and nodding about the kimchi.
Yeah.
I adore kimchi. It's so good.
Go ahead, Emily.
I was going to say we actually have someone at my work. He works front of house. His name is Chris Kim, and he's starting his own kimchi business.
Yeah.
And he's on the food stand. On Twitter, it's the food stand, and he's been making his own kimchi, lots of different types. And he's trying to get back in touch with the idea of preserving and his own heritage, really. And
I think that's exactly what preserving does. I mentioned the grandmother thing, and it was just sort of as an example, but in the same kind of way, Annabelle, you are connecting, I guess, with a past technique that maybe has gone away, but is sort of in resurgence now.
Well, for sure, and I think right now people, that whole kind of, local food, sustainable, 100-mile diet, all that stuff is very trendy right now. And not that we're trying to be trendy. That Canadian living isn't, about being trendy. It's about being relevant. And, the stuff that is trendy generally is there because it makes good sense and people are getting into it because it's the responsible thing to do. And environmentally, preserving your own food is not only good because you're making the most of it and not wasting, but you're also encouraging buying local, and you're using reusable jars. So that's that's another thing. So it's the kind of thing that you're actually just helping the environment as well.
Well, I'd like you to help me give this book away. What do you think? Can we come up with some kind of a little question that we could ask a caller? Have you thought? What can we do?
Sure.
Annabelle, have you got one, Annabelle?
I can think of one.
Okay.
I said earlier how many recipes there are in the book.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's get a caller then. We need. Let's get the second caller in at 519-570. Should we give them within 5 or 6 or 10 maybe?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
570-2545. That's 570-2545 or star 570 on your cell. How many recipes in this great new book, The Complete Preserving Cookbook? And second caller in will get the book, and it's a beautiful book too. Hardcover, lovely, lovely pictures, great colors. And like you say, Annabelle, lots of nice tips inside, too, like tips for cooks. If you don't know anything about Scotch bonnet peppers, you can substitute 8 Thai bird's eye peppers or cayenne hot peppers. So all kinds of great information like that gives. And I want to thank you, Annabelle, for calling in. Can you just stick with us on the line, though, so we can make sure we get this caller and give the book away?
Absolutely.
Okay, so stick tight, and we'll be right back. Don't go away. We do have to take a break. We're going to get that caller on here, and we'll come back. We'll have a last segment of the food show. There's a little bit more. You're listening to 570 News.
This is the Food Show with Andrew Coppolimo. To call Andrew, 519-570-2545. By cell, star 570. Or toll free, 1-800-570-5715.
And are we going here? Yeah, there we are. Hello, Liz. So we've got Annette still on the line as we return here to the food show. Sorry, Annabelle. And we also have a caller, I believe. And we're just trying to coordinate this. Annabelle, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, is this Mark?
Yes, it is, Mark.
Hi, Mark. Where are you calling from, Mark?
Kitchener.
From Kitchener. Are you a regular listener to the Food Show?
I do usually listen on Sundays. Yes.
Excellent. Good. Glad to hear it. Now, we're just trying to we have Annabelle on the line still. Are you there, Annabelle? And we're just going to try to confirm. We need to have her confirm the correct answer. You have an answer, do you? Mark?
An answer?
Yeah, we have a skill testing question to win the book. Do you have any idea about the number of recipes in the book? That's the skill testing question.
Oh, the number of recipes in the book.
Yeah. You want to take a guess?
Oh, it's got to be a lot.
It's got to be a lot. And Annabelle, are you there, Annabelle? Oh, she's gone. Uh-oh. We have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Okay, well, you got to take a guess then. I think I have a guess. So what's your guess, Mark?
Okay, I must have missed that part on the show. You guys probably said it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to guess 250.
Oh, that's pretty close, isn't it? That's very close. Should we give it to him? Is it within our range?
I feel like it's close enough.
Okay, it's close enough. We're going to do that. Mark, if you want to stick on the line, I want to congratulate you. We're the second caller, and you are within our margin of error to be able to pull this off. Well, thank you very much. And make sure, don't hang up, and then talk to Liz, and she'll make sure that she takes down your information so you can pick up the book. Are you a preserving kind of guy? I should ask that.
Well, my question, I did have a question. Do you need a fruit cellar room to do this?
Oh, well, we don't have Annabelle on the line anymore. I think Liz is trying to get her back. Well, here's what I do know, Mark. When you do some of these recipes, you prepare them. They have to sit and settle, often for as long as 24 hours.
Yes.
So if you're doing, let's say, a whole counter full of strawberry jam or zucchini or asparagus, whatever it is, you have to have a place for it to sit. So you've got to put it down and you've got to let it settle for up to 24 hours. Now, that's sort of an indirect way of answering your question. It's not like you just sort of scoop these things up, put them in the cupboard, and open them up next day. They do have to, or the next couple of hours, they do need to sit. And if you're going to be preserving bulk quantities, you've got to have some place to put it. You're talking about whether it's cool or not?
Exactly.
I don't want to say because I'm not a preserver and I don't know. Emily, any insights?
Also, like not a hot place.
I think Emily's mic is off, Liz. Yeah. Okay, we got it. Okay.
Okay, so basically anywhere in like a cool, dark place is always good to store your preserves. So
Okay.
if you don't have any cupboard room, you can always just kind of lie
All right.
something over them to keep them out of direct light.
Hold on, Mark. Now, do we have Annabelle there?
I'm here.
Okay. The question, Annabelle, was after. Well, Mark, why don't you directly talk to Annabelle while yourself and ask the question again?
My question was, do you need a fruit cellar room to do this preserving? Should it be a cool room?
No, I mean, you should keep your preserves in a cool, dark place for sure, but just as long as you're not using the cupboard right above your fridge or somewhere that's extra hot, it should be fine.
Okay, and I think you said about 24 hours. That's all it takes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those were my questions.
There you go. Well, you've won the book, so you'll have all this information courtesy of the Canadian Living Kitchen and the great people there that know all this stuff technically. So make sure you give your information to Liz, and we'll make sure that you get the book.
Great, thanks so much.
Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a nice day, and happy Mother's Day to all mothers.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, there we go, Annabelle. We had a little trouble with the phone lines, but we got you back. Mark was the winner of the book, and I wanted to thank you as well for taking the time to speak with us today and giving us this great book. There we go. So we're done. That's it. That's just about it for the show. What's coming up, Emily? What's kind of exciting and on the horizon for you? Anything that you're excited about? Are you going to any great restaurants or?
I have nothing planned really yet, but it's always just fun getting to check out the new ingredients and everything in the season. So I get to, we got on like Wild Violets and Wild Rants, so just getting to find out new ingredients and check that out. There's a lot.
Well, I really recommend then take a trip into Stratford and try the Mercer Hall restaurant. There's some neat tasting menu that they have, and that's one of the things that I really like when I go to a restaurant. I like to have little bites of many different dishes, and they're doing some great stuff in there. And I wish them all the best. The new restaurant starting up in a very popular restaurant town. So it's just a little shout out to Mercer Hall folks. And of course, Priyanka Patil again. This is great. We've got the Food Day Revolution with Jamie Oliver behind the scenes, sort of looking in. And we'll see you there. It's Saturday morning, May 19th, and lots of great stuff happening.
Yeah.
And we'll have maybe we'll have some feedback coming out of that too. We could have you back on the phone, and you could let us know
definitely.
sort of what's going on in that capacity.
Yeah, I'm excited. It'll be fun times.
Okay, well, for more information about that great event, you want to visit the kitchenermarket.ca for more information. And actually, when I think about the Kitchener Market, there's a place where you can get a lot of great ethnic cuisine. You got
definitely,
because of salsa, you got some Mexican kind of food, you got Italian kind of food, you got Caribbean sort of soul food, some Croatian stuff, which is really interesting. I love the borek, which is that sort of pastry, sort of street food. It's just got a great variety of stuff. So check out the market always. So we want to say that, you know what, that's it for the show for this week. I want to thank the Food Revolution, Priyanka Patel, Emily Schleeper of Uptown 21. Thanks for joining me here in studio.
No problem.
Great to see you.
Lots of fun.
Annabelle Waugh of Canadian Living and Brian Patton, who, sorry we couldn't get on the line, but we did give his book away, The Sexy Vegan. We want to thank also to our studio personnel here at 570 News and internet operators. Visit 570news.com for an archive of past shows and follow The Food Show on twitter.com 570 Food Show, and you can read my column in the Kitchener Post each Friday. Join us again next week. We're happy to have a visit from the New Dundee Emporium. That should be fun too. Looking forward to that. Remember, eat wisely and eat well. Thank you for joining us here on The Food Show, only on 570 News.